What was once the Polk County Courthouse now serves as the Polk County History Center and houses the Historical Museum and Library. The museum serves Polk's community through special events, volunteer opportunities, and educational programs. More details are coming up next on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Tina Mann, and joining me in the studio today is Murtis Young, the Historic Preservation Manager at the Polk County History Center.
Hi, Tina.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're here to talk about February. January was a big month, and we had a huge exhibit opening, which has some continued activities. So why don't we talk about those?
You know, it's an interesting year for us because we always try to tie our themes together so we have a consistent message so that people have an opportunity to commemorate our history in more than one way throughout the year. But 2020 is a very, very special year in that way because everything we're doing this year, the exhibits, our programming, our educational opportunities all tie back to essentially that it starts with the 19th Amendment, but really ties into that wonderful, wonderful exhibit that will be arriving from the Smithsonian entitled Democracy, One Voice, One Vote. So we wanted to make sure that we took advantage of every opportunity to have that message firmly implanted at the History Center. So in February, as we continue democratic dialogues, we will offer the second in the installation of that program. And we realized that because 2020 is also the year of the census, it would be a really good opportunity to have a program about the census and the benefit of that. You know, we realized that particularly in our area, there are people who might have some concerns about being counted by a government entity, but in fact, it creates such value for us because that's the way funding is allocated and resources are allocated. So we're going to have a program. Shonda Bennett from our planning office and Kim Long, Executive Director of Polk Vision, will be at the History Center for our lunchtime program and will talk to us about the census and primarily how that benefits Polk County. So it is a very good program to listen to and also be able to take some of those facts and some of those values back to your home, to your communities, to your churches, to other social organizations and talk about the value of the census.
Right, because there are a lot of, you know, myths out there that aren't quite true, and this definitely ties into the democratic process because that funding and that number, that count, that accurate count actually can change the number of elected officials that we have representing us. So it is very, very important and ties right in with the democratic dialogues. So it'll definitely be a really interesting program. I've learned a lot about the census this year. This is the first time I've actually been involved in the planning of the process, and I mean, for the past 2 decades, I've just taken the census. I just knew it was a law. I knew I had to do it, but I didn't know why I was doing it.
Right, correct.
So now that I've learned it, it really is interesting. So I think it's going to be a great program. Going along with that centennial theme, we do have other events coming up as well. So why don't we talk about those?
Okay, well, you know, we also launched this year our book banter, and that is a book club. It's an opportunity to read a book and have some discussion. So in February, on Thursday, February 27th, the book that is selected is Henry David Thoreau's Civil Disobedience. So I was really pleased that we selected that. What a great opportunity to reread a book that was familiar to us in high school, and we're going to read that again and talk about that. I think civil disobedience perhaps will lead us into a discussion on civil obedience.
Which would be great. I have to admit that is not required reading when I was in high school, so I may actually have to catch up with that one.
That just says something. It dates me a little ahead of you, doesn't it?
Maybe just a smidge. So what other events are coming up with regard to our coalition partners?
Well, you know, let me speak just a second about the coalition partners. When we started planning for the 19th Amendment commemoration for 2020, one of the recommendations that we got from the national coalition was to create local coalitions. So we started calling together our partners, anybody in the community who would be interested in the 19th Amendment. And of course, we have somewhere around 15, 20 partners who are involved in programming. So one of our great partners in the coalition is the Vanguard School of the Performing Arts. And on Friday, February 21st, they are offering a play that is Across a Barrier of Fear. And this features the life of Eleanor Roosevelt. And of course, as we talk about women who have achieved great things in our country and provided great leadership, she certainly stands out as one of those icons. So that's going to be a really wonderful opportunity. So the Vanguard School is in Lake Wales. If you have need for instructions or how to make reservations, certainly can call the History Center. But that's what we're suggesting, that everybody support that, attend that on February 21st, and that's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And important to note, since most History Center events are free, this is a ticketed event.
Correct.
Tickets are $15,
Correct.
And they just need to contact and buy those in advance. So that's such a cool thing. So, but let's shift to the other things that are happening in February. I know February also is a very important month for Black history.
Indeed, and every year at the History Center during February, we feature some sort of storytelling opportunity to showcase, highlight, and learn about the African American history in Polk County. So we create a scavenger hunt, a finding tool, a guide to bring people into the museum and walk around and rediscover African American history. The annual theme this year, every year there is a particular theme, and it's African Americans and the vote.
How perfect.
How perfect. And of course that will be one of the features in our suffrage exhibit. So it'll be an interesting read and an interesting opportunity for people to discover the African American vote and that privilege and that history in February, all month.
All month. And obviously another great thing to do in February, because it's usually cooler, is to do the cemetery tour.
The Oak Hill Cemetery tour, you know, the cemetery listed on the National Register of Historic Places is one of our favorite ways to immerse people in the history of the county, with the grave sites that are there and the history, the stories of the people who were buried there. It is really a great historical experience. So we leave from the History Center, meet there about 11 o'clock, and can either walk with the tour group down to Oak Hills, just a little piece, little smidge more than a mile, or it can meet at the cemetery, and that's going to be February 1st at 11 o'clock. So we encourage you to continue to learn about history and local people of history right here in Bartow, Oak Hill Cemetery.
That's awesome. So maybe not the best day to visit the History Center would be February 6th, because there's a very cool thing happening. That's an annual event, which is the Polk County History Fair. Why don't we mention that?
You know, we're so proud. For many years now, we have been the host site for the History Fair. Now, the History Fair grew, so it has 2 venues, but we are one of the venues for the History Fair. And again, it's just perfect this year. The theme for the History Fair this year is breaking barriers in history. And this is certainly one of those years where we're talking about breaking barriers. So it's just great to have the students put together their exhibits, come to the History Center. You know, they really put their heart and soul into that. It's a national event, and so fortunately, this is the beginning of the exhibition for them. And every year we have students from Polk County who wind up at state, and of course,
They're so talented.
I know they are, and they just do such a great job in the storytelling and hitting the theme of the annual theme. And again, this year it's breaking barriers in history. I can't wait to see what we're going to have in display.
Yeah, but not the best day to visit the History Center because it's incredibly busy and most of the exhibit rooms are filled with children.
It is.
So it's cool, but maybe not the day to come. So then much better day to come would be February 15th for the architectural tour.
Oh my goodness, as you know, that's one of my favorite events that we offer at the History Center because it gives us an opportunity to really showcase the beautiful structure, the architecture itself. There is a very interesting story that goes along with the early construction of the History Center. So in addition to the architectural tour and touring and talking about the architecture and the building, we're going to feature this month, or in February, we're going to feature the very innovative elevator process that was created to move construction supplies from the bottom floor up to the second and third floors. I won't give away the secret. It is a great little story, but it does involve a living creature. So come and hear about that in February, on February 15th at 11 o'clock.
It sounds like a good segue into elevators as well. Without creatures, let's just mention real quickly about the elevator replacement project.
That is exciting news. Oh, the great news is elevators at the History Center are getting a retrofit, and we're going to be new and modern and beautiful and exciting.
And not so scary.
And not so scary. So what that entails, though, is it's a process, and we'll start with the elevator on the east side of the building, and I think that elevator is about a 6 weeks process, so that elevator will be closed. So the elevator in the rotunda will be in operation. That's the smaller elevator. So we'll have elevator access, but we're just going to be limited to one at a time.
Just so they know what to expect.
And then so as soon as the one on the central side of the building is repaired, then we'll move to the rotunda. So really about 2 months, beginning in January, late January, February, March, we should be in full operation again. With new elevators.
Excellent. Well, we don't have a whole lot of time. We don't want to not mention the genealogy series that is continuing, which will be on February 29th. So why don't you talk briefly about that?
Great, great program. February 29th, you're right. And those are at 10 o'clock in the morning. So this month we'll be featuring Luann Mims, who is a special collections librarian at the Lakeland Public Library, will come over and talk to us about the digital collection and accessing digital collections. And I'm sure she's going to include not only the resources in our library, but the other resources around the county as well. We do have several really fabulous collections of exhibitions that people can access. So she's going to talk about that. How you can just sit at home in your PJs and access and do research, access digital collections and research.
You can, or you can go right upstairs afterwards and go access your own through your library.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like February is a fantastic time to visit the History Center, so they need to come on out and take part in the events. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks you, Tina. We love to have an opportunity to talk about the fun things going on.
Polk County has a rich history and heritage, and the Polk County History Center is continuously thinking of new ways to help Polk residents experience that history. The museum's collection includes natural and cultural objects related to Polk and the greater Central Florida area that represent our history from pre-Columbian to present-day eras. The artifacts on display at the museum represent individuals, cultural groups, and events significant to the region. Located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow, the History Center is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. For more information about exhibits and events, you can check them out on the web at polkhistorycenter.org or give them a call at 863-534-4386.